You honestly didn't think this was going to last forever, did you? Hi everyone, welcome back. MTG Moxman here, and thank you for finding my channel in the nacho cheese universe that we call YouTube. Glad you all made it back today. Isn't that the kind of intro I used to do? Isn't that what I used to kind of speak up to? I still have fun doing it sometimes, but we're going a little more straight talk today. A little more flat out there. Yes, I'm MTG Moxman. I'd like to welcome all my friends back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, stick around. You might learn something from this uneducated, doesn't know anything about Magic, and has no clue what he's talking about channel. All right, guys. So we're going to cover a couple of things today. I hope you guys can sit around for a few minutes and enjoy it. We'll start things off with the simple concept of the stock market. Things go up, things go down. Now, a lot of people actually don't understand why stocks go up and down, and it's not really important to what I'm trying to get across because, honestly, stocks with just some bad news press can go down, which means the social economic climate around it forces it down just on some bad press. Welcome to Hasbro, right? Not everything in the company has to be bad to force a stock price down. They don't have to be making tons of mistakes. It just has to be word of mouth that something has gone wrong. But that's the stock market, up and down. But let's say a stock is doing well. And this stock is $100. And then it climbs to 110, 120, 130, 140. And it's not that it's not popular, but the sales slow down because the price is too expensive for the average person to afford. Do you know what they do in those cases? It's called stock splitting. They will take the stock, divide it in two, and give you two shares, right? So if this stock was 140 and they split it, now both stocks are worth 70, which now drops the price, makes it more affordable for other people to buy, but you, who happen to have it, now get two. Pretty awesome, right? You get two. Now think of a modern Magic set. Take any pick you like, but let's use Ragavan, Sheoldred, Vorinclex, whoever you like. Do you notice when the cards go too high, they reprint it? Usually in a premium set, but they reprint the card. That is your version of a stock split. The Magic card rose to a certain level based on its playability, desirability, word of mouth, good press, and that card went up and up and up. It found a home in some amazing new deck. Everyone's playing it. Everyone's trying to get it. Oh my God, the card's too expensive. We got to put this in a new set. So they reprint it in some premium product so they can make more money for the company, just like a bank. But now they have split that stock. The price falls, making it more available for other players. There's an old Tolarian Academy video where he talks about how certain cards like Scroll Rack, when they get reprinted, the price isn't really affected. But look at Scroll Rack now, because like anything, if you overdo your stock splitting, the prices go too low. They fall too low. But what happens if the stock you're buying cannot split? It has been built and engineered that it can never split. So it only goes up, down, but it can't split. Welcome to your towers of reserve list card. We have 572 cards on the reserve list. Now I thought about doing fancy stuff and showing you, but it doesn't matter for this conversation. For every card on the reserve list, there was a certain amount that had been made originally. Printers runs, there you go. You have a stack of reserve list cards. Probably higher than my whole room of any individual card, right? Just stacked perfectly. But every person who owns one owns a share of that company. But the problem is that stock can never split because they're not allowed to reprint it. And unless Wizards breaks that rule and shatters the last vestige of people's belief in that company, they're never coming back around. It's the way it's going to stay. Now, if I told you now that that was the case, it's never coming back around. There's no guarantees in life in an unregulated market like Magic, but for the most part, I really don't think it's coming back, in my personal opinion. Now let's jump to 2001. I know we're just jumping around this video. Yeah, get used to it. We're in 2001, and a dual land is $30. $30 for an Underground Sea. Would you buy it for $30, knowing that it's worth $600 now, $700 now? Of course you would. I would too. You would skip that McDonald's Happy Meal, and you would buy that card and you would sit on it. It's like a lottery ticket. Understood. You would do the same for any of the power cards for 150 bucks back then. I would as well. And I did. Now go forward. 2023. Market is starting to recover. There is signs of cards selling. But unlike standard sets, Ragavan, amazing card. But is he getting reprinted? Absolutely. So people may sit back on that card saying, it's going to get reprinted. And those types of players are willing to wait for the stock split. They'll wait for the card to go cheaper in some premium product that forces the price down, allowing them to buy. You can look at cards like Wormcoil Engine that have been printed so many times, they've permanently lost some value. And a lot of players do treat this game just as a card game. They're happy it has secondary value where they can sell the collection off if they don't want to play anymore. But never depend on that. Be willing to accept the fact it is a cardboard game that could be worth zero, but on the other hand, could be worth a lot of money depending on the cards you own inside your collection. Now let's talk about these low-end reserve list cards that continue to keep selling. And no, I'm not just talking about Soldevi Excavation. You guys can go look at my video about that. There is a very low quantity of many reserve list cards on the market. And all it's going to take is a couple of people with $5 each skipping a Starbucks day with 20 friends to buy out many of these cards because they're so cheap. We have not seen reserve list cards this inexpensive in almost 2 years. Some cards that reach as high as $20, $30 are back down to $1 or $2. And yes, many of these cards have no playability, but that doesn't stop the collectible factor for many players. They're going to buy it anyway to see if they can get 100 copies. Can they get 1,000 copies? That's all they're trying to do. It doesn't have to be playable. It's a reserve list, it's a tower, and they want to own as many shares of that particular company as they can. And when you ask yourself later, are these cards going to exist in the same format? Are they going to be the same? Is the reserve list going to stand the test of time over the next 10 years, 15 years? Will some of these cards start to go up? That is an unanswerable question. You don't know where a market like this is going to go, but I can tell you this, it's not going to go any lower. $1 reserve list card doesn't drop below $1. Just like a booster box doesn't drop below its original price normally, unless it's an Amazon dump. I know, too soon? Yeah. I heard there was a Dominaria United Amazon dump too. We'll probably catch up on that at some point. I'm sure somebody else is already talking about it. But that's where a lot of players are starting to think and start to go and say, if I buy some cards, I buy 50 reserve list cards for $50, $1 each, low end stuff, and any of those cards ever catches, great, I've made some money. But if not, I own 50 cards on the reserve list. Out of the 572 cards, you can probably buy about 400 of them and only spend like $1,000 to get like 85% of the entire reserve list for just a few cards. And yes, some of them are very expensive, don't get me wrong. Some of them are highly playable and highly sought after. But if you're a beginning collector, you can buy so many that are inexpensive and work at it over time. How bad do you want something? How bad do you want to get it? Because cards you would think are unobtainable seem very obtainable when you compare it to new pricing that Wizards is putting out. Let me leave you with this last thought before we end the video today. As a player going to buy a product, Lord of the Rings, maybe a set booster box, maybe Commander Masters. When you're going to look at those products and decide to buy it, take a moment and pause and see if there was any higher end reserve list card you were after. Maybe it was a Mox Diamond, Serra's Sanctum, Gaia's Cradle. You will find by skipping the box of Commander Masters, you were that much closer to affording one of those higher end reserve list cards you've always dreamed of owning but thought you couldn't, or you actually can afford a rough copy of it. That's how far Wizards of the Coast has pushed the price. So how bad do you want that card? Do you think that Commander's product is unique? Or do you think it's going to get reprinted and there's stock split a couple of years from now? Do you feel the same way about the Wheel of Fortune? Is it getting reprinted? Is it coming back around? How about Gaia's Cradle? Will it still have playability in the future? This is the fault, the error Wizards is making right now that can't be ignored. They can stock split and bring these card prices down as much as they want, but there's always going to be that segment that looks at the new prices and sees how affordable a low-end or high-end reserve list card is starting to look. And before those prices change and start getting caught up, decide if you want to get that card now or if you want to wait another 10 or 12 years and see how bad the pricing gets. Guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me on the channel today. Slam those comments down, good or evil. I'm looking forward to reading what people think about it. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a great day today.